Boys, it is getting to that warm part of the year over here in Australia anyway, as we might have someone who possibly is not in Australia. Won't give away too much for those that aren't watching on the YouTube yet. And when it does get to those warmer times of the year, you need to make sure that you've got your nut care, you've got your wood, you've got your bare nuts, you've got your bare butts, because we want to make sure that we are all tidy downstairs, primed and ready to go. So at any given Sunday, we are proud to be supported by one of Australia's fastest growing men's grooming brand, Nutcare. Proudly Australian, Nutcare is taking down under grooming to the modern day man. Recently voted number one, just like us, by the Men's Health magazine with Bare Nuts pubic hair removal cream. Nutcare is revolutionising male grooming. And as proud supporters, like our support, all of our supporters, you can use the code Any Given Sunday, all one word. At the checkout, you'll receive 10% off your first order. Nutcare is essential grooming for men.
Brown 45! Brown 45! Hot, 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 hot!
You are listening to Any Given Sunday, Australia.
Yes, hello and welcome to the Any Given Sunday Australia podcast, the number one podcast in at least 3 households, 1 studio, Gridiron Australia head office, over in Winnipeg, and currently over in Frankfurt, because we've got our usual TC24 in his man cave. We're not quite sure where that is, but we'll get to you in a second, mate. We're being joined by the one and only at Danny Webb, AGSOU, over in Frankfurt. How are you, mate? We can't hear. That's a great start.
Oh, yep. That was because I had myself muted because I am sitting in the hallway of the hotel, but I'm back. So that was Guten Tag for you guys, Guten Morgen for me. The vibe over here is absolutely electric. The fans are going nuts. There is so much NFL all across the whole city, and it is going so well.
Yeah, it's great to see your face, mate. And so for those that are listening, just bear with us. As you said, you are sitting in a hallway in your hotel room, but we've been lucky enough to get yourself a ticket to tonight's game, mate. And you said the vibe's pretty huge. Are you seeing it one way or the other?
Yeah, so technically it's a Chiefs home game, so everything is Chiefs. Like Chiefs Kingdom has absolutely rocked up, like unbelievably here. So there is a huge amount of Chief fans everywhere, and you just be in the pub and you just hear, "Let's go Chiefs."
Yeah, grouse, mate. We will get on to, we'll talk about that Chiefs game soon. Timmy at Tim Cardi, AGSAU. How are you, buddy?
Oh, good, mate. Good, mate. Lovely to see Danny boy. Great to have a man on the ground, boots on the ground for today's game. What time are you live at the moment, Danois?
So for me, it is currently 10:30 in the morning, and the
nice.
at 3. Kickoff's at 3:30 p.m. So we'll be heading to the stadium for all the festivities around midday.
Beautiful. Have they got have they tried to set up a bit of like a tailgating type thing that you can get along to, like pre-game?
I think it's more set up like it's a music festival. So there's events, there's a stage, there's bars, there's the NFL shop, and that's set up the whole way through town. Like Frankfurt's absolutely put it on. It's been incredible. There was like a quarterback competition. There was like kids running, catching the ball. The NFL flag is being presented here. So there was the men and women's team, German team here, and they were being interviewed. There was German NFL players. It was just, the whole town's just absolutely electric.
Buzzing. Yeah, you've been sending through some photos. It's been looking pretty good.
Yeah, and we'll get a clip together of everything that's gone on, and we'll get it out on all the socials once it's all done and dusted.
Make a little Danny montage.
We love a little Danny montage.
Danny on Daniel leave. There's plenty of photos, which is also good. My one and only question for you, mate. 10:30 in the morning. How many Guinnesses have you had already?
No Guinness. I'm drinking a lot of German Pilsner. That's what they do. That's what they drink for breakfast. A couple of German Pilsners just to get yourself going. Just to wet the whistle,
Just to get the vocal cords up and about for today's episode. Perfect.
Hey, when in Frankfurt, do as the Frankfurtians do.
Yes, absolutely.
And I've had plenty of Frankfurters, that's for sure.
Grouse. One thing that we'll get into a little bit of, so sit tight, Danny, while you're over there, mate. We'll get into a bit of housekeeping. Make sure, I can see that you're wearing a slightly different shirt there I know it is are you wearing the Eagles? That's the Eagles shirt. Cart's got the plain white. I've got the plain black. So make sure you do hit up our merch store, anygivensunday.dasautomat.com, and also the Zone Game Pass. So again, go to our link tree. We are halfway through the season, so you believe it or not, it is half the price as what it normally is. So you can see all the games, and then leading into the playoffs for half the price that us who paid earlier in the season had to pay. So perfect time to jump on board. Get around Red Zone. Red Zone's honestly the ultimate, especially when you've got 5 or 6 games going at the same time. We're going to get into, Danny, you were traveling, I believe, so I'm not sure how much of the Titans-Pittsburgh game you saw, but if you did see any, feel free to jump in. Carts, I know we watched it, mate. What happened and what were your thoughts?
I got to watch. We were mentioning just off air. Do we say that off air or just before? We were talking before. I got to watch the first half like pretty uninterrupted, but then second half had a bit going on. But it was good. Like it was a close first half. I'm pretty sure that the Titans went into halftime with a lead. They're up by 3, so up by a field goal. But we were kind of watching the Titans closely on offense because we'd been talking during the week about is Will Levis a starter now and how's he going to go and all that sort of stuff. So we were kind of watching them on offense, and like to be honest, I was pretty impressed. Like for a first-year quarterback, his second start, they looked pretty good. They were trying a few things. They did a few direct snaps to Henry and stuff like that, and like they were trying things. But Levis looked pretty comfortable out there, I thought, particularly in that first half. Like we said, I got to watch more of that. But then in the end, Steelers at home, too strong. Such a strong defense. TJ Watt. And it was, you said Hayward was back, but it was also Highsmith. They were able to get to Levis quite a bit. Like those two rushing off the edge, they're pretty dominant at that position, and they were able to get in and affect Levis quite a bit. But Steelers at home, just too strong in the end. I think that Levis had a shot late, 4 seconds to go. I'm not sure if it was picked or just batted down in the end, but they obviously didn't come away with the win. Steelers up by, what was it, 4 points?
4 in the end, yeah. So we all did our picks for it. Well, you and I, Cardi, did the picks. The line was 3.5, so they get it pretty bloody spot on 9 times out of 10.
They just know. They just know. I don't know how, but they bloody know.
Yeah, there's a lot of algorithm going into it, which we're just all over the YouTube algorithm, hopefully. So you mentioned that the defense was pretty strong. Do you have the stats in front of you? How many sacks did TJ Watt get? Because I know he's getting extremely close to passing his older brother for the most sacks within the first 100 games.
Yeah, so he had just the one. Highsmith had 2, and Marcus Golden also had 1. So they had 4 total. But, yeah, a couple of tackles for loss as well in there for Highsmith and another one for Watt. So they were just getting in there and just getting pressure. And you just know that, like, it's like it doesn't have to be a sack every time, like with those guys, but you just know it's like Max Crosby we talked about. You just know that he's there. Like if you're not getting rid of that ball quick enough, you're going down. And so, yeah, I'm not sure what he's on for the year. If you want to fluff, I might be able to find his numbers for the year. But yeah, like you said, he's on track for 9.5 at the moment. So he's on track for some big numbers by the end of the year.
There are some big boys making some big numbers in the sack world. Another thing I wanted to mention, which was huge, shout out to Deontay Johnson scoring his first touchdown. It was something like 630-odd days since he'd scored. So huge for him. Danny's just having some people joining him in the hallway, which is nice. But, yeah, huge win and huge for Kenny Pickett, I think, as well, just to play he wasn't outstanding, but played a good enough game and really worked the field. Najee Harris didn't have a huge game, but scored early. And I think it just shows the Pittsburgh Steelers are on track for 19th season in a row of above 500. Like, it's incredible.
Yeah, they were looking a bit shaky last year. I think second half of the year they came home and just got it done. But obviously the record's looking a bit better now at 5-3. Yeah, Kenny didn't have a huge game, only 160 yards, 19 to 13. Attempts and just the 1 touchdown. So not a huge game, but just managed the game well, I thought. Yeah. Again, just in that first half, mainly what I saw. But yeah, main target was there. Obviously, Deontay Johnson that you mentioned. He had 9 targets, but 7 receptions for 90 yards. So he's had a good day. One at 32 long. The surprise that you mentioned, because he probably affected a few fantasy teams a bit, but George Pickens didn't have a great day. 2 receptions for -1 yard. He unfortunately caught one in the end zone, but didn't. And there's a still photo that does him dirty. Like, he's so far in the end zone, but doesn't manage to get the second foot down. I think it might have been his left foot, but just didn't manage to get the toes down. So that catch was ruled incomplete, or out of bounds. But so that would have changed his numbers a little bit. But -1, that hurts a bit.
Yeah, and he's normally so good with his feet. To not do that is surprising. And there's a lot of chatter about him not being extremely happy at the moment. When Deontay's a widescreen shot of when Deontay scores, everyone's getting around him. Like I said, 600 plus days. And you see in the background, Pickens just turns his back and's walking away. Like, not sure what's going on there, but it's a definite watch this space.
Well, it just gets that way. Like, he's only had the 5 targets for the day. So I think players like that have that confidence in themselves and, belief in themselves and believe they should be getting the ball every play essentially. But that's not going to happen. But yeah, they want that ball every play. So only getting the 5 targets for the day, he's probably not happy with that sort of production. So yeah, probably a little bit pissed off.
Yeah, just to watch this space kind of one. The next week for both teams, Pittsburgh have got the Packers, so real down and dirty game for them. Hopefully a win for us just to really shake up their season. And the Titans are over at the Bucks. So huge game in that division. The Bucks going all right, and Will Levis be interesting to see if they start in for a 3rd straight game. Tannehill looking likely to be okay to be back. So it'll be interesting to see which way they go with that one.
Yeah, Tannehill was on the sideline, had the headset on. I don't know. I think Levis has looked solid enough that they maybe keep persisting with him and give Tannehill another week. Maybe until he shits the bed. I don't know. He hasn't really shit the bed yet, so I think keep giving him a go.
Yep, see what happens. I agree. Yeah. He played well enough to keep him in the game. I think keep him going. He's the future. Tannehill's not the future.
Yeah.
He's happy to throw downfield, so he's going to keep the likes of D-Hop happy. I think keep him going. So, next up, we've got just a little bit of news just to break it up. And the news, of course, is brought to us by our good friends at C2C Rare Threads. C2C Rare Threads are enormous sponsors of us. 10% off when you use our code Any Given Sunday online. You can see just scrolling through their website some incredible stuff. They've just got a whole lot of new stuff too on their website. They put up a photo. There's 15, 16 new jerseys, a lot of jumpers, a lot of shirts, like incredible stuff. So make sure you hit them up.
I think with these guys too, it's important. Keep going to the website because they're constantly getting new stock. You don't want to miss out. They do get some really cool stuff in that's obviously going to sell out quick. So just keep going to the website, keep looking, and you're going to score some absolute gems on there for sure.
Yeah. So the one small bit of news that I wanted to touch on was huge for the Bears. They've signed their trade target, which they brought in late on trade day, Montez Sweat, the big defensive back. They finalised a 4-year, $98 million deal. I believe, Danny, I'm going to bring you in, mate, because I believe you were all over the stats on what it actually was.
Yeah, so it's going to be $72 million guaranteed over the whole deal, but it's very front end heavy. So I think at the day of signing, he's got $62 million guaranteed as the day of signing, which is like obviously huge. And it's probably the biggest reason why he did sign on, because he is signing for the Bears and for 4 years, like to commit for that long. He was just probably like, give me enough money up front and I'll do it.
Simple.
Yeah. It's not rocket science. Give me the money and I'll stay. So fair enough. That does huge for the Bears. They've had some big players come in over the past few years. Khalil Mack kind of springs to mind and makes a difference in their defense. And they've got a pretty young core. So to have someone like Montez Sweat come in just really bolsters that defense for them. So huge pickup and good on him for going out and getting some cash. This week, we've picked 3 pretty big games. One is obvious that we're going to talk about. It's the man himself over in Frankfurt. And I think 2 of the other biggest games possibly of the season, definitely so far, going forward possibly as well. So we've got the Cowboys Eagles and we've got the Bills Bengals. We'll start off with the Dolphins and the Chiefs. Danny, give us a little bit of a wrap up what you think, mate, as well as like what's the weather like over there where you're at?
So on the stadium, there actually is there's a roof, and they're gonna have it up, but it is about 10 degrees and raining currently. But yeah, so I was talking to some locals last night at the pub, and they were saying that for the German soccer league over here, they never put the roof on. If it's raining, they never put the roof on. He's like, but for the Americans, we put the roof on. I was like, all right, cool. So we're gonna be nice and dry. But yeah, as I was saying before, there is a lot of Chiefs fans here. There's still a lot of Dolphins fans sprinkled through, but it's definitely Chiefs heavy. Both the teams traveling to be here will always mean the game will probably start off a little bit slow, but the energy in the stadium and around town is just so high that I reckon the crowd's going to definitely be able to get everyone revved up and carry them through. It's going to be an absolutely offensive show because obviously you got Mahomes and Kelsey to it's going to be a big day.
Tyreek's first time playing against his former team, and he's pretty pumped up about it. And his numbers this year, I think it's a huge game. You mentioned a couple of weeks ago, Danny, huge games for the Dolphins to get a win against a team that's above 500. Like the wins that they have had have either been super impressive or just real gritty wins. But the losses they've had, the two losses, coming against teams that are going to be thereabouts at the end of the year. So to really kind of stamp their names as like they're currently 2 in the AFC. I wouldn't be surprised if they go to number 1 if they do beat the Chiefs. You know, to really stamp their authority and be like, you know, we are a team to mess with. I think they need to get pretty close to winning.
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting because, like you're saying, they haven't beat a team above 500, and you're going against the reigning Super Bowl champions. So you're going to be able to get it done. Like they didn't beat the Eagles. I don't know. It's just going to be tough, especially with the amount of Chiefs fans that are here. It is definitely going to feel like a Chiefs home game as well. So they'll definitely be in the head of all the Dolphin fans out there.
Carts, is there anything about this game that really sticks out for you?
It's actually the first game that Tyreek Hill. Did you mention this is the first game since? Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I was. My head was in the chat. I was listening, but I was also scrambling. So that'll be good. But I think, like Danny was saying, and it's awesome to have our man on the ground there. Give us a little bit of insight. But if the Chiefs are able to spin this into a home game, and it's looking like Frankfurt's put it on and making it into a little secondary Chiefs kingdom. That's huge. That's huge for the vibes. Like you said, it's tough to travel. Like we saw the Bills battle a little bit when they went over for the London game against the Jags, a bit slow to start. So if they can sort of feed off that hype, like a little secondary Chiefs kingdom. I keep saying it, Chiefs kingdom. That could be huge. That's the 12th man out there. I was just going to say we can't slip on those Dolphins though.
Yeah, and the Chiefs Kingdom has definitely travelled well. Like I was shocked with the amount of Americans that are here that have come to support their Chiefs. Like they've got their drum line out here. The cheerleaders put on a show yesterday. Like it is definitely well and truly, without a doubt, a Chiefs home game. And like you're saying, that 12th man's here, and that 12th man's ready to go, and it's been ready to go all weekend.
I like it.
Yeah. So in my mind, I think it really comes down to both offenses are going to fire. You know, we've got the number 1 offense in the Dolphins versus the number 4 offense in the Chiefs. But the Chiefs are a bit more well-rounded. They're number 5 in defense, where the Dolphins are number 20. Dolphins are number 20 in defense. So I feel like the offense of the Chiefs versus the defense of the Dolphins is where the game's going to be won or lost. We know Tua's going to go out there. We know Tyreek's going to plenty of yards. The rushing side of thing for the Dolphins is always up there as well. I think they're number 1 off. Yeah, they are number 1 rushing and passing. So it's not that side of the ball that we're going to be worried about. It's the offense of the Chiefs versus the defense of the Dolphins. So I'll get it out. I'm also thinking the last time they met, I think it's 5-5 out of the last 10, off the top of my head. So it's definitely a pick'em game, and 33-27 in the favour of the Chiefs late 2020, and it's 1.5.
The line's 1.5, yeah.
The line's 1.5 in the favour of the Chiefs. So it's a genuine pick'em game, but I reckon you're going to have an absolute ball there, Danny.
Yeah, and I'm going to be jumping on board with the Chiefs because just like the Kelsey brothers, Webb brothers, we're one Philly, one Chief, and we just got to support each other the same way the Kelsey brothers support their opposing team when they're not there. So I'm jumping on board with the Chiefs, jumping on board with the Chiefs kingdom. And man, honestly, I can't wait. Like, this is my first NFL experience, and it's well and truly exceeded expectations already, and the game hasn't even started yet.
Bloody oath. Bloody oath. I am very jealous, to say the least. The second game will bring in your other team, well, your actual team, the Cowboys versus the Eagles. Carts, I know you're riding away, so you keep going. Danny, how do you think you boys are going to go against the seemingly high and might of the Cowboys in this divisional game?
Yeah, so obviously divisional games are always going to be tougher. The Eagles need to come out and start strong, which they haven't been doing. Well, at least Hurts has been taking a little bit to warm up into it. He's definitely been playing better in the second half. If he can play strong from the first half, but that Cowboys defense and Micah Parsons is nothing to sleep on. He's going to be coming for him because that's what he does. He loves hunting down those big name quarterbacks and absolutely trying to dominate. So going up against the Dallas defense is always going to be tough. The positive for us is our defense has been playing relatively well. Every time we play the Commanders, apparently not, but every other team we managed to stop relatively well. So I'm not too worried about their offense with Dak leading the helm, but as far as their defense is coming, and with the shaky start that Hurts has been having for most games that the Eagles have had this year, it's going to be a bit of a worry.
Yeah, you're not wrong, especially last week. Like you said, they were down, 14-3 or 14-0 at one point, but second half, Hurts coming out, 4 touchdowns, just getting the job done when he needs to. Number 3 offense for you boys against the number 2 defense. Like you said, that's where it's really going to come down. But Dak's always a chance to throw you the ball a few times and let you guys have some good field position.
Yeah, and we'll always take it. Dak, if you throw us the ball, we're open. Get big play Slay involved, and hopefully we can have a little pick six in there just to give us a little bit of wiggle room.
Yeah, you're definitely right about the Commanders. It's another divisional game where you just play each other so much, so you just line up really well against each other. But again, off the top of my head, I reckon you guys are down in the last 10 games, like 7-3, I reckon, against these boys. So they kind of do have your number.
Yeah, but it's at home, is it not?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, which obviously, which plays a massive part. Like the Philly faithful come out, Philly Nation's just unbelievable fan base, win or lose. Sometimes positive, sometimes positive, sometimes negative. But when it is positive, it is well and truly, let's just say passionate. We'll go with passionate.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice.
So as long as we start off strong, like I said, I think that's our major key for this game. Get the fans involved, start off strong, and then let the rest.
Yeah, Carts, what do you feel, man? I know we got Joshy in the chat pretty pumped for his Cowboys. How do you see this game going?
Yeah, look, the Cowboys have looked better since who touched them up?
San Fran.
Yeah. Look, they've steadied the ship a bit, but if Danny's Eagles are able to get on top early, is that when like Dak starts to feel that pressure and then he starts to force those throws a little bit, and then that's where that ball security comes into question? Maybe. So Philly probably looking to get the jump on. But I think Jerry Jones came out and what did he say? It was like, this game's, what did he say? It's big as shit. Or like, no, he said like something like, just something pretty funny about, the enormity of the game. Obviously they're 5-2, Eagles are 7-1. So both teams trotting along pretty nicely at the moment. So good time of the year to probably stamp a bit of authority too as a serious contender if the Cowboys can knock off the Birds. If the Birds were to go down, obviously not the end of the world, but I think at home I would probably be leaning towards Philly.
-3 in favour of Philly. Does that strike you? They're always very close games. So the last time they met, it was 34-40 in favour of the Cowboys late last year.
It is surprising.
That was the game. Did Gardner Minshew come out and play? Is that right? Yeah.
That was the Minshew game, and he threw a pick incredibly late. We're leading, and then he threw a pick incredibly late, and then Dallas scored on that final drive. But so Philly were beating Dallas with Minshew
with Gardner
as QB1.
Minshew mania.
Sorry, Carson.
Yeah, that line's a little bit surprising. I thought the line might be a little bit bigger at home, but it is what it is.
Yeah. They're always going to be tight games in these divisional rounds, but
True.
Danny's obviously going to go for the Birds. I reckon I'm still not sold on these Cowboys. They flat track boys, so in a game where they need to perform, I can see a couple of 2, maybe 3 picks. I'm going to say more picks than touchdowns for Dak. That's my
Dak.
Yeah. I don't know if we can bet on that, but that's my prediction. All right, last game. We are
somewhere for that.
Yeah, we'll put it on our little ticker. Last game, Bills, Bengals, Sunday night, I believe.
Sunday night, baby.
Huge game. First time these two teams have played, possibly, I could be wrong, since Damar Hamlin's injury.
I want to say you're right.
I do also want to say I'm right.
Well, back in the natty at least, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to back it.
Go with it. Run with it.
I am going to run with it. Huge game. We'll start with you, Carts. What are your early thoughts with this game? Joey B kind of coming back into his own the last few weeks. Is this a game where the Bills are going to have to kind of stamp their authority a little bit? What are your thoughts?
It's like it feels because it's such a week-to-week league, but it just feels like at the moment, and even though the Bills are still going all right, it just feels like after Joey's performance last week, it's like, oh shit, like here come the Bagels. Like he was looking really good, like that calf, as we talked about, obviously looking back to probably close to 100%. He was looking dangerous. Chase, beast. He's starting to, just find that form. And then it just feels like there's been more questions about the Bills and like the games that they've dropped. They're a bit more shaky. They're probably not like as much of a solidified contender as what probably we thought they were. The Bengals obviously need to get on a bit of a run. Like they're actually sitting at the bottom of the AFC North, believe it or not, but got a winning record. And they're only one game behind the Bills. So it's like, it's probably like I'm hoping for a really awesome contest, but I just at this point, like it just feels like still more questions about the Bills, and then the Bagels probably starting to maybe turn the corner a little bit with Joey being healthy.
Does being at home for Cincinnati kind of swing you their way as well?
It definitely helps. Yeah, it definitely helps. Like they love playing at home. Every team's going to be stronger at home. Definitely, yeah, I think it swings it a little bit for sure.
So, we'll get you.
I feel as well like the Bengals are, really trying to really are finding their form, like really getting in stride, playing well at the moment, and then the Bills are kind of seeming a little bit lost. So for it to be in Cincinnati, like the Bills really need to come in there and absolutely take over, which I just don't know if they're going to be able to do with the way that they've been playing at the moment.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's a great point there. The Bagels are kind of really, they know what they are and they know the team they are at the moment, where the Bills, a lot of it is reliant on Josh Allen and whether he has a star game. Diggs, if you can keep Diggs quiet, Gabe Davis can be a little bit up and down. So, yeah, I think huge game. If the Bills can come out and get the win, like Cart said, it will begin to solidify them as the top 3, top 4 team in the AFC as we thought. But yeah, I don't know. I really like Joey B in. Is it Acor? Whatever the stadium is called, Amcor, something like that. Paycor, sort of P in there. Silent. The P's silent. Yeah, 2.5 favourites as well for the Cincinnati Bengals, which again, look, I actually think that's probably a little bit unders. I'd probably be taking them at 2.5. Just the fact that it is at home and Joey B is just really hitting that confident stride again, that real cocky walk that he can go around and strut a little bit.
And he's rushing the ball really well, which just shows that he's well and truly over that calf injury. Like the way he rushed the ball last week, if he can pass the way that he does and then keep up his rushing game, he's a very, very hard quarterback to stop.
Yeah. Who are you boys? -2.5. What are your quick thoughts?
Bagels at home.
It's got to be the Bengals.
Three-way. All righty, on to our last segment. I should get you a...
Quickly, because I think it's a big game and Megs will probably crack it if we don't. But Ravens-Seahawks, I think, is actually a pretty big game in the context of just where they're at the moment. Like the Ravens obviously flying. Seahawks dominating in the NFC West. Everyone thought that was obviously the 49ers division. But yeah, I just thought quickly we'd just get a pick 'em on that one.
Do you have the line? Or just
I don't know the line. It is in Baltimore.
It's in Baltimore. The line is right here as soon as I come up to it. 6.5 in favour of Baltimore.
Oof, that's bigger than what I would have expected.
I think when Baltimore's playing some bloody good football at the moment. And
we've been sort of going back and forth in the chat a little bit, but I would take the Ravens, obviously, at home. I think Lamar, same thing. Like, he's just starting to hit that stride a little bit. And we kind of haven't spoken about them too much. And I'm being told they haven't won there since 2009, the Seahawks.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
It is a long time in the grand scheme of things. I don't know. I think we sleep on the Seahawks a bit too much. So Megs will be happy to. I'm not sure they get the win, but I reckon it's under 6.5. So
all right, you take them to cover. I like it.
Yeah.
Danny, I couldn't agree more. Like, when I was looking through to try and find my lock of the week, which was a tough one this week. But
it's a tricky week. It's a tricky week.
I was looking through. I'm like, this is going to be an absolute great week of football. And then I saw that game, and I was like, we're going to talk about the other three. That would definitely be the next one in line. Because they haven't won since 2009, but the Seahawks are looking really, really good this year, and I feel like it'll be a really good matchup between the Ravens and the Seahawks. So yeah, I'd probably, if I got to pick them, just like pick them, I'm probably going to take the Ravens at home just because of the form that they've been lately, and Lamar has started to look a little bit unstoppable. But I'm not having them to cover. No way. 6.5 is too big a line.
It's a big line in such a tight game, and I reckon like we've been sleeping on the number one side in the NFC West off the top of my head. Yeah. The Seahawks, so yeah, could be an absolute cracking game and cracking week of games. So we'll get into your segment. We should get you a little.
We need to make a sting, or I don't know, like a sound of like a lock and key. Like, would that be a good sound effect? Maybe not. We're into week 9 for our lock of the week. Last week we missed, obviously, as we've mentioned a couple of times, we had a bit going on, so we missed our predictions for lock of the week. But just a reminder, you're two out in front on 5. Danny, Charlie, and myself all sitting on 3. So it just goes to show it's not that easy to pick a lock every week. But Danny boy, have you got yours for this week?
Yeah, and I really hope Joshy boy is still in this chat, because I hope he's taking complete note of this, because I'm taking my Birds over the Cowboys. As my lock.
Love that.
That is huge. I like that.
Joshy has been in the chat. We'll see if he reacts to that one. T-Mac, who have you taken, brother?
I've gone for your boys, the Raiders, with a new coach bump. I think the Raiders get the job done against how can you be against the team that's lost the GM, lost the head coach, lost the offensive coordinator, and you're still underdog.
You're still favourite.
I think the Raiders, with the new coach bump, will get the job done.
Well, that's funny. I wrote mine down earlier. I've taken the Raiders too. I was going with the new coach bump. I thought I was going to be the funny one, but you stole me thunder there. But yeah, here we go. And then Charlie's taken the Browns. Obviously, the Browns are taking on Arizona. The Browns are at home for that one. Pretty heavy favourites there too, the Browns. So
he did say, I think he said he wanted to go San Fran. I'll just write it here. He got it. He said, tough week. I was going to pick the Chiefs, actually, but instead he's gone the Browns. So interesting change.
Chiefs would have been bold. Would have been good.
Yeah, but he's gone the Browns.
I flirted with the Chiefs a little bit just because of where I am. And I was just like, well, they got to be the lock with the way the hype is. He's a Chiefs fan right now, just walking past me. But yeah, there's.
Get him on. Tell him you're on a podcast live in Australia.
It's too late now. He's gone in the elevator. But yeah, that was going to be my lock of the week as well, just because it felt very fitting. But as soon as I heard Joshua Boy was in the chat, I quickly flipped it.
I like it. That's huge.
At me, Joshy boy. At me.
Mm-hmm. He will. We'll be sending this to him. Don't worry. Well done, boys. Huge week ahead. Really looking forward to this slate of games. Have a great time, Danny. All the photos, all the videos, we'll put it up. Make sure everyone's around it. And a huge shout out to the Frankfurt Wi-Fi in the hallway, because you've been perfect. Probably better than me. So well done, mate. Have a great time. And we're all jealous.
The home internet sometimes, I think.
Yeah, let's not talk about my home ins now. I'm gonna have to change providers when I get back. I think, especially after this, like, literally in a hallway, people walking past, and it's been crystal clear on my end.
Perfect, mate. Have a great time, Cardi. Good luck to the Raiders. New coach bump. Good luck to the Packers. Packers have got the Rams. No Stafford, I reckon.
All right. That makes sense. I couldn't work out why you guys were favourites. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I don't know who their backup is, but he's not as good as Jordan Love. So we'll get the W.
Benson,
Good luck to
isn't
the Raiders.
Benson.
Oh, is it?
Fantastic.
Benson Bennett.
Oh, is it?
Interesting. That's a game to watch.
We'll address that in the next episode.
We will when they beat us. And I'm not. Danny, do you have any German for us to go out on, mate?
Oh, sign us off with some German.
Dankeschön.
Hey!
Let's go Chiefs.
Show mein Sausage.
See you, boys. Don't